Flosstube. This is Becky, the South Texas Stitcher. Today is January 5th, the first Tuesday of the year. I'm getting some glare from the light overhead. I changed where I've been usually filming because I have a big jigsaw puzzle over there and I would love to work on it, but every time I start to work on it, the cat wants to jump up and lay on across all the pieces and throw them on the floor. So I have to wait for him to go take a nap. As I said, today is January the 5th, and the first 4 days, well, the first 3 days were uneventful. Yesterday, I reached up, there should be a large OT light here. Yesterday, I reached up to turn on my OT light, and when I did, sparks came out of it and a little flame and blew out the bulb, and you could smell electrical through the house immediately. And I was like, ah! And I jumped up because I wasn't putting my hand back up there because it's in the on position. Jumped up, moved this chair, moved the little table that sits here next to it, got it all moved it all out of the way. And while I was doing that, my vision was being blurred because I am farsighted, not nearsighted. So I ripped off my reading glasses to see what I was doing and unplugged the OT light, which was plugged into a surge suppressor. So I don't know what happened to it. All I know is it went in flames. It was like, whoa. But I got that unplugged. So my OT light basically exploded and my good pair of reading glasses broke. Those were my favorite for stitching. So I'm on my second pair of favorite for stitching right now. So I have to go find another pair. I'm going to have to not let myself rock. Otherwise y'all will go, what is she doing? Anyway. If this is your first time to watch, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back and sitting here with me again. I have some interesting news. I have a job interview on Friday. I think that's the 8th. I'm still looking forward to it. I've been looking for a job since last, let's say April-ish. But with COVID, nobody was hiring in person. Everybody wanted remote from home. And I don't know how you would go remote from home to a new company you've never worked for, you never met the people, and you really don't know what their work entails. So all those positions I just immediately pushed to one side, which really limited what I was doing. Technically, for many, many years, I was an admin at a CPA firm. I really didn't want to do taxes again. It gets crazy, and your whole, from January 1st to April 15th, you really can't take a day off, and I have horrible allergies, and today they're affecting me. Yesterday was a beautiful day, just gorgeous. We had what we call bluebonnet skies here in South Texas. They were just beautiful blues. I didn't think about it. I opened up the house to let the air blow through, clean out any musty odor from being closed up for a while. Didn't think about the fact that we're in mountain cedar season. And today I'm regretting it because I can tell the mountain cedar got to me. But anyway, let me show you what I got and what I've done. I do have some finishes. Oh, I just realized I forgot a finish. Well, it wasn't that great of a finish, so we'll let it go. Anyway, let me show you my fully finished objects first. I finished my hands-on design Partridge in a Pear Tree, 2 turtle doves, and 4 calling birds. I loved calling birds. And 3 French hens is in the works, but I jumped from 2 to 4 just because I love these little birdies. I love how they're just sitting on their little roost there. I think they're so cute. You will notice that the buttons have the number that they are in the song. I got these on the boards. And, that's the backs. They all have the same back. I bought enough fabric to do all 12. I got them all boarded up, put together. I needed to put on the cording, but before I could do that, before I could put them together, I needed to put the hook on them and the button. And that's when I realized I should have put the button on before I put them on the board, because I misread the instructions. And I couldn't find the buttons, and I couldn't find the hooks that were kitted up with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just saw those. Where are they? And I looked everywhere. And that's when I realized that I had day 1, 2, 3, and 4, but 5 through 12 had disappeared. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, where are the rest of my days? So then I started finding the days, and I'm finally like 7 and 8 in one box, and 11 and 12 in another box. I finally found all of them. I now have everything put together. Found everything 3 through 12 button-wise. And on Christmas Eve, I finally found the buttons for 1 and 2. But by that point, I didn't want to mess with it. So they actually got finished on December 26th, and I did hang them on the tree for the last few days I had it up. And I took the tree down yesterday. So they did get to hang on a tree for this past Christmas season. They just didn't make it for Christmas Day. So that's my hands-on designs. And I messed that up in the first video. That's why I'm being specific. Hands-on designs. And I make my own cording. And I use number 5 Pearl Cotton DMC 729 as the cord. And it made a nice contrast with that red. This was Weeks Dye Works Red Gingham, I think. And it was all kitted up for me by my L&S, which I'm so sad because they're officially gone, and they've only been gone less than a month, and I'm already going through withdrawals. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. I was like, I would have just run up for that, but I couldn't. The next thing I finished, I actually made 3 of these. 1 for each of my children. And I say that specifically because there's a story behind that. This is the one for my son. His gifts are still here. I would have mailed his, but originally for my grandchildren, they had big gifts. And I thought, there's no way I can get this mailed. They were just too big to put. I'd have to have a packing box. It was huge. Well, Christmas Day, we did a Zoom family meeting. And my grandson runs up and says, look what I got for Christmas. It's the exact same gift as we had bought him. And I'm like, ugh. So I taken those back, and I need to get them something else to replace them. And I'm thinking they are old enough that maybe I just might get them a gift card. But anyway, I made 3 of these ornaments, and I actually knocked them out pretty quick because I did them like a week and a half before Christmas, and I don't usually stitch that fast. Each one had a different green, and each one had a different star. This is from the 2016 Just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornaments special edition. And the original, it's a Keslyn pattern. And the original pattern called for the star here to be green also. It was all green. It was like green tree or something like that. I thought that was just a little too much, so I did each star different. This one is done in Classic Colorworks Grasshopper. And the cording has got some red floss and some black floss. And then I went and purchased some $6.99 number 5 Pearl Cotton Green to make the cording. And once again, I do make my own cording. I have my own little twister, and I have a hook, or I use my husband's hand. I'll say, here, hold this, and he knows, don't move. We're making cording. The story behind this, I made 3 of these. Excuse me. My nose was perfectly fine until this. I made 3. The Saturday before Christmas, we drove to Bastrop, Texas, which is halfway between us and both of my daughters. My younger daughter was working, plus she doesn't have a good working car at this moment. So my older daughter, she met us in Bastrop we switched presents. She took them back, and she took them to Bryan College Station, where she and her sister live. And on Christmas Day, I said, "Did you like your ornament?" And my youngest daughter went, "What ornament?" And my older daughter goes, "Oh, I love the ornaments." She goes, "They're both right here." And I went, and I had made Christmas ornaments before, so I couldn't see what she was pointing at. So I thought she was just talking about all the different Christmas ornaments I've made there over the years. Finds out she found the two. Instead of putting them in the two different bags with some of the smaller gifts, I put both in one bag. At least, either I did that. She did say the bags tipped over at one point and some stuff fell out. So either she didn't realize she had one in her bag and she put it in hers. Anyway, she ended up with both ornaments. She thought they were for her and her husband, so she kept both. I said, no. Go give your sister her ornament. And then she tells me, "Oh yeah, well, by the way, we have one of the Christmas gifts. It fell into the trunk of the car, so it's still here." And I'm like, so she didn't get everybody's Christmas delivered like it was supposed to. The other ornament that I made, I put on, let's see, something white. White, the Christmas card. I made it with this green. I've not used this kind before. It's 4045. It's a DMC, and this is more over-dyed than variegated, and it made a beautiful tree. And I'm sorry, I didn't take pictures of them. I was in such a hurry to get them done and out the door that I didn't get a picture. But that was the other one. And then the third one was in DMC 895, and I used a thin line of the DMC sparkle floss. I can't think of, it's an E something, but they match, so it's sparkled. And I told my husband if I had started with that one first, we would not have had 3 of them, because it was making me crazy. So those were my finishes, except for one ugly ornament that I'm not going to show you. Then the next things I have are a few things that I purchased besides the cording material. I got the new a needlework enthusiast. I want to say needleworker, but it's not. A needlework enthusiast 2021 book of days, and I have already started using it. And over here I'm going to write down the designs that I have worked on in that month. That way I know, because I'll say I don't know when I last worked on that, what month. So I mean, that'll be easier for me to find. Then on January 1st, here, right there, I put down that I have started the Modern Folk Embroidery, the 2021 SAL. I have started that. I'm actually almost finished with the first page. And I think that's all I have purchased, besides the cording material, the Pearl Cotton. My mother gave me a gift card to Hobby Lobby. So I went to Hobby Lobby. So this is technically a purchase, but it's also a gift. And I bought the entire set of DMC Etoile. I had originally thought about making one of those Christmas trees in this, but I had not used this before. And I didn't want to try and do something new in a rush situation. But I love those colors. They're so pretty. And of course it comes in the collector's tin. And they give you a little book with patterns. And it tells you all the colors. So I'm looking forward to making something with those. I have some ornaments I want to make for next year that I downloaded this year that I haven't even begun to start. And my thought was to use the Etoile in some of those. So we'll see how that works. Then as a Christmas gift, my mother gave me a finishing piece. And I laughed because I don't think she realizes it, but I actually have the piece, the pattern that's supposed to go there. This was a finishing piece for a Redbird design pattern. I just have to go find my pattern. I don't know where it's at. And of course, it's a small, so I'll get that done. It's a little blue button, I think, if I remember correctly. Then, other gifts. I have things spread out like this. My oldest daughter who stitches, she knows that I like project bags. This does have a right side up. She gave me some fabric to make a project bag. And if you've ever seen the movie Coco, you'll have heard them talk about the alebrijas, the spirit animals. And she gave me alebrija fabric with all kinds of spirit animals. My personal favorite, let me see if I can get this up here, is the armadillo. I think he's so cute. And the cat. I love the cat too. But the armadillo, definitely. So I need to make a new project bag out of that. And we'll get that taken care of. And then she gave me another piece. She had brought some Day of the Dead fabric last year. And she actually made shorts out of it. And they were fantastic shorts. I personally never would have thought of making clothes out of Day of the Dead fabric. But she did, and they came out wonderful. Plus she used like a retro pattern. So they buttoned on the side, had pockets. And this is from someone who's never had a true sewing lesson, because when she was growing up, she really didn't want to be messing with it. And now she wants to learn how to do all these things. And she waits till she moves 4 hours away before she wants to learn. So I get phone calls every so often, but not very. But I did give her a sewing machine, so she's working with that. So she gave me some Day of the Dead pattern of my fabric of my own. Hers was Day of the Dead mermaid and merman. Mine, because she knows I like Southwestern things, is a saloon full of Day of the Dead people. And on this, I like this one because that one, they're playing poker. So it's another project bag. I'm much larger than she is. I don't think I could get away with wearing Day of the Dead shorts. And since I moved closer to the camera, I'm hoping this is not messing with the volume again. And then because she's an art teacher and she gets these kind of messages, the color of the year for 2021 is yellow. So she bought me a big thing of yellow. This will not match the Day of the Dead fabric, but this will match the alebrijas. So definitely got to make some project bags with that. And then I think that was all my stitching gifts. Yes. So we got all that done. Now, one thing I did buy that is stitching related, but can be used for other things. I bought, and I thought this was so funny. I bought this before Stacy from Stitching 911 did her Flosstube on how to make floss tags. So I was going at it blind, and you have to move your tail. I have been making floss tags, and mine, she bought one where you cut out the whole tab all at once. I bought one that only crimps the top. So you take your rectangle, my white wall works well there, and you slide it into the groove, and these are 2 inches wide, and you crimp it, and it gives you the top, and it gives you the hole. And then I have my large hole punch, and now I have a floss tab. So I had bought that, and I thought it was so funny because I had just started making them, and I saw she had a floss tube instruction on how to make floss tags, and I was like, hey, I wonder if she's doing it the same way as I did. And I thought, oh, she bought one that makes the whole tab. I don't have to cut the paper into strips first, because that's the other thing I have to do, is cut all the paper into the correct size strips. Now what's nice is this cuts 1.5, 2 inches, and 2.5 inches, different tabs. So for Christmas this year, we used this, and we didn't put the big hole in the bottom for like a tag, but we made our own Christmas tags. And it was awesome because my husband's always complained that when he makes, you get the name tags on a Christmas gift, there's never, he writes a little bit large. So he never has enough space to write everything down. So he's always a little, it looks a little messy when he does it. So he loved the tags I made because he could actually write to who it was from and from and all that good jazz. And he really enjoyed them. And I thought this would be easier because he would not be in the video, but obviously he has decided that he has to be in the video after all. Now I did get some silk weaver fabric, and I don't remember if I showed this or not, so I'll just re-show it anyway. I do have some new fabric. This is Wexford 32 count linen from Silk Weavers, and it's called Midas Touch. And I love that fabric. So pretty. I don't know what I'm going to put on it yet. It is a good size piece. I thought I had the size of it down. I guess not. Nope, I don't have the size down. You would think I would have done that, but it's a big size piece. And I'm not big into samplers, but that's big. So I have to decide what I'm going to do. I mean, I could cut it into two pieces and make two smaller things, but I haven't decided I wanted to do that yet. Okay, you have to move your rear. He has this thing about wanting to stand on the arm of my chair, and he wants to play in my sewing thing that's right here. And he knows he's not supposed to be in there because he gets in trouble for that. Okay. This is what I've been doing since my last Flosstube. And I'll show you this first because it's right here. This is my Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along, as the one I started just on January 1st. And it's crunched because I haven't ironed it. But that's it so far. It's one page. You get one page a month. So this is the far edge of the page. So I really only have this little bit right here to do. There's finish off this bird. And then there's some more little starry, flowery things up in here. But that's what I've done so far. And this is the DMC. These are some of the new colors. 28 and 29. I liked it because they were kind of a heathery purple. They were not in your face like the 550s. In fact, I said something about that and somebody said, oh yes, the 550s are definitely in your face. So, so yes, that was my New Year's Day start. Now, I do have some more on my Newcastle Bouquet. I stitched on this. This was my birthday, started in December. My birthday is December 11th. So I did this little piece here, that little foursome on December 11th. And I think Christmas Eve or so, I did this. And I'm really enjoying this. And this is on 40 count fabric. And I'm really enjoying, I think it's 40 count. I'm really enjoying this pattern. It's very nice. 37 count, excuse me. 37 count Squash Blossom from Access Commodities. And this is the, there you go. The bottom left-hand corner. So, yes. I always start in the bottom left. And I always try to do it with, I have enough fabric to do 3 inches borders all the way around. And that way, when I'm done, I don't have to worry too much about framing and such like that, because that would just make me crazy. Then, I haven't showed this in a while, I don't think. I worked on, and I may actually printed a picture finally. I worked on my Southern Land from Alforce Embroidery out of Russia. And I matched their colors as closely as I could. So there it is. This is one corner. Let me just do this. If I was smart, I would just pull this off. Maybe. It's a new frame, so it's tight. So I have from corner to corner. and I just love these colors. This is called Southern Land from Alforce Embroidery. And I think this year it's going to be one of my focus pieces just because I just fell in love with this pattern. It's so gorgeous. And I bought it as a PDF. They did have kits. I don't know if they still have any kits left. But I did, as I said, I kitted it up myself. And at this moment, it is being stitched on 30 count custard cream and Weeks Dye Works Grenadine, Louisiana Hot Sauce, Jaybird, and Classic Colorworks Old Blue Jeans. I want to thank Sylvia Ward for creating these. These are awesome. I love using them. I have never kept track of things. I never remember what things are, and now I can actually say, yes, I know what these are. And I know that Shiloh from Cross Stitch MD, she is working on this, but I haven't seen her progress on it in a while, so I don't know where she's at on hers. Then on New Year's Eve night, I couldn't find it. This is also on 37 count Squash Blossom. It was too funny. I went to the L&S to buy fabric, and they had a huge piece of this for Pandemic, and I fell in love with it. And I said, I want that for my Pandemic, so I bought some. Well, Newcastle Bouquet came out, at the at market, and I had already kitted it, and I completely forgot that that's what I had kitted Newcastle Bouquet with when I bought Squash Blossom again for Pandemic, because I think it's the fact that they're both reddish or reds that's why I love it so much. And I just recently stitched that little, I don't know if he's an owl or a penguin, but I just thought he was so cute. But this is where I was at, and I had said I wanted to get to 25%, and I didn't make it, but I have to laugh. On New Year's Eve, I was sitting there going, man, I didn't even make it past 19%. And no, 17%. And I was like, wow. So I started looking at Pattern Keeper versus Pandemic and realized I had forgotten to mark off some sections on Pandemic, on Pattern Keeper. So I started marking things off and updating. And when I was finished, I was just a little bit over 21 or 20%. And I was like, well, I didn't make 25, but I at least hit 20%. So I was happy with that. Then, let's see here. What is this? Oh, I did work on this a little bit. I did work on 3 French ends a little bit. I think I finished the S, I think. Yes. So there's the 3 French ends, which will look like that. They also will be roosting. And as I said, I do have, all those are kitted. They were my lunch project at work when I was still working back in 2017. So that was one of the reasons why they never been completed. It was because I had all my stuff from my desk and stuck in this box, and I had forgotten that they were in there, and I had finished 3 of them and hadn't put anything more, and so anyway, let me pause you here for a moment. Okay. Oh, this is something I made. I made some of my Hawaii fabric that I showed y'all, and I made a project bag, little snowflakes above Santa Claus as he's frolicking in the water here in Hawaii. And I love the fact that his presents are sushi. And there's Rudolph and a snowman. I guess he's a sandman. I don't know. But I put all my Hawaii projects in my Hawaii Santa bag, which I haven't started working on any of those yet. Then I am going to be, for the first time, joining with WIPGO. I've never done this before, and I put in some projects into my chart that I haven't worked on in a long time. And I at least, if there are multiple pages, my goal is to finish at least one page during the month that it's selected, so that I can get some movement on some of these projects, because some of them I haven't worked on in a long time. This one I actually worked on, I think, last January, maybe? Last January or February. So it was worked on a little bit in 2020, but not a lot. Anyway, this is the Templar Prophecy, and it is done on dark chocolate. It is a 32 count, I think. 32 count, yes. 32 count dark chocolate. And my husband picked out the gold. I gave him I handed him a whole bunch of floss, and I gave him the fabric, and I said, which one do you like? And he picked out this one, and it is 834. Yep. You know, it does you no good to make a floss tag if you don't write what it is on there. Here we go. Yes, 834. I need to go find my Sharpie and write on here 834. But yes, that's where I'm at right now. I did do a little bit of stitching on it on New Year's Eve, and I got the bunny and the fox done, and the end of this scallopy part right here. I thought that was very pretty. And I think, like right here, is the beginning of another page. But what I need to do is come back over here and go up some more. That way I can finish my one-page goal for my whip go for January. And I figure as soon as I finish my modern folk embroidery for this month, and it's almost finished. In fact, it may be finished by late tonight. I'll be able to go back to Templar Prophecy and work on Templar Prophecy until, oh, I don't know. I guess I'll just work on it until I get one page done. Because I also, for WIPCO, wanted to do some of my Prairie Schoolers. And I have a couple of Prairie Schoolers that I have. I just didn't pick out which one. I just put down Prairie Schooler because I have several things. And now he's going to flip his tail in my face. He's not happy with me because I didn't give him treats this morning, but he was not his stomach was not a happy cat this morning, and I'm giving him treats for that. So that was my haul and finishes, excuse me, and my stitching. My plans at this moment for 2021 is each month to do the one page from Modern Folk Embroidery. I have never kept up with that kind of a sal before. That is my goal this year, is to keep up with the Modern Folk Embroidery stitch along. I also want to work on the linens and threads stitch along for 2021. That's called Talaveras. I have the floss. I think I have the fabric. I need to go look for it. And their January is just the outline for the year. So I need to go and put in the outline. That way I can get things ready for February when it comes up. So we'll see how that goes. Then those are the only two new starts that I have, besides a couple of Prairie Schoolers that I want to start. I just have to decide which Prairie Schoolers. I have several. You know, I have been buying Prairie Schoolers off and on for years, and I never stitched one. And I'm like, I need to stitch one of these. Get on with it. So that, and then of course I have Newcastle Bouquet, which I don't know if I'm going to stitch on that like the 11th of every month or what, you know, since it was a birthday start. I also want to work on my 5 Christmas stockings for my grandchildren. Jocelyn's is the one I've got the most on because she's the Candy Cane Nutcracker. Her birthday is January of this year, or excuse me, in January. And I think I'll touch on it 1 or 2 more times before I put it away and then pull out one of her cousins or her brothers. I just don't know which one I want to work on next. Her brothers is the Nutcracker that Kim from Barbara's Daughter is stitching on, the big nutcracker with the teddy bear on the toe. She is the nutcracker. She did the nutcracker first and is going to the toe, and I started with the bear to go up. And that bear's head is like almost solid one color brown, and it was like, oh, I can't believe this bear's head. So I got most of it done. I just have to go back to it. So maybe I'll work on his this month also, who knows. I would do it. I would say that I would work on their Christmas stockings on their birth date of the month. But 3 of them have the same day of the month. They're not all born on the same month and date, but I have 3 that are born the 25th of a month, and I'm like, so I can't do that. So I was like, okay, that's not going to work. Then I thought about doing them just in order and doing by age, and starting with the oldest for 1 month and the next and into the 5th month, and then starting over again. But that's boring. So so we'll see how that works out. But besides Christmas stockings, Southern Lands, Newcastle Bouquet, Modern Folk Embroidery, and Templar Prophesy, and Pandemic. That's quite a bit, because if you'll notice, none of those are really small. I do want to work on a couple of smalls. I just have to decide which ones. I know I have one that's a drum that I want to do. It's the Lady Liberty from Blackbird Designs. I want to stitch her. I have that one all kitted up and ready to go. I just need to pull it out and stitch on it. I'm not exactly sure how all that's going to work at this moment. I'm trying to be good this year and stitch on what I have, because it's becoming like crazy in my middle bedroom. I've just got kit after kit after kit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to stitch on these. I need to finish them. I need to get them out of here so I can buy something else. But we'll just see. I don't know how that's going to go. He is still here. He does not want me to mess with anything else, and I'm glad, because technically I've shown everything that I was going to show you. Oh. You know, you get something for Christmas and you're like, oh, thank you. My husband gave me this little can of purlines. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce this. I don't buy these because half the time I get them, they're all broken up. So you're eating little pieces and chunks. But is it bad that this year when he gave this to me, I went, oh, thank you, because I wasn't happy about the cookies. But I was thinking, oh, what can I do with this can? It's like, ooh, a small can. What can I put on this? So we'll see how that's going to go. I didn't tell him that. I thanked him for the cookies, and of course, I did eat the cookies. And I was right. They were broken up, and nothing was like longer than that big. So it was not what I wanted to eat, but it was okay. Well, I hope everybody has a good start to their 2021. I hope you have a good time stitching. I hope you stay safe. Technically, I should be in the 1B section for COVID shots, but the lines or the amount of shots they have and everything they have, I don't know when I'll be able to get mine. My husband, because he's a first responder worker, is getting his today. I asked him, I said, you couldn't just squish me in there with you? And he said, no, that didn't work. So I said, but yes, I'm supposed to be in the second group. I'm not over 75, but I do have health issues. I think I mentioned before, I was diagnosed with leukemia in 2011. I also have a heart condition that was diagnosed in 2010. And I also have asthma and a few other odds and ends. And for a while there, every time I was going to the doctor, I was getting a new diagnosis. And my sister said she was never going to a doctor again. So, but I'm good. This year, if everything's good until May, I'm officially cancer-free because I went through chemo 5 years ago, and I'm doing good. So I'm happy with that, and we'll see how it all goes. But y'all have a good day. God bless, and I get a lot of stitching done. Thank you.